there.
Yes, and the hangout is live. So Sue, I'm gonna let you take it away.
All right. Thanks so much, Beth. Sorry, guys. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty this morning, but we are good to go now. So yay. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to talk a bit about Twitter and why you should be using it, not just for your brand, but for you as well. Okay. I would say the first thing to keep in mind when you talk about getting on Twitter is just remember to have fun with it. Don't get too hung up on, how many tweets are coming through every single second, as you're looking through your thread and how many people are out there. Okay. Twitter has been around a long time now, since 2006. I have been on Twitter for 10 years now. I couldn't believe it when I went to put together some stats for this presentation. I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe that it's been 10 years, that I've been on this thing. But it's been fun. I really still enjoy it. I have to tell you, it's something that I do go on and check every single day. So it's something that once you kind of get a feel for it, I think you're going to really enjoy. Obviously there's a lot of people on it. There's a lot of tweets that are coming through every single minute. But I would say one of the most important things that Twitter is really great for is breaking news. So if you want to know about something that's happening right now, this second, check Twitter. You want to know if Facebook is down? Check Twitter. They will be the ones that will be sharing the folks that are on Twitter will be the ones that will be sharing the breaking news around the world when it happens. So don't turn on, your favorite news broadcast on television. Go to Twitter. That's where you're going to find the breaking news. So why then should you use, Twitter for your business? Or for you? Well, you know what? It's going to help you really establish yourself as an expert. This is a great platform to share information that you're learning, information that you are creating. If you've just put up a new blog post and you're super excited about sharing that news with the world, this is a great place to share that. It's a great place for you to stay up on industry news. As I mentioned, news comes out here really quickly, so it's a great place to follow trends and all the latest and greatest that's happening out there. It's a great place for brand awareness. If you want to get more bang for your buck, should I say, for your brand, Twitter is a really a great place to do that. A lot of brands use Twitter for customer service, so it's a great way to answer questions because somebody may be asking a question about something that you're putting up. You want to have a conversation with them, build a rapport with them. This is a great place to do it. You'll see a lot of airlines, use Twitter in a great way, because like if there's a problem, and maybe one of you have already used it. If you're having a problem with a flight, there's something that's delayed, maybe you're not getting enough information and you feel frustrated. And if you go on and just tweet to American Airlines or United or Southwest, they will reply to you almost immediately. It's really kind of eerie when it first happens, because you're like, wait a minute, how could they possibly be listening to all these people at the same time? Well, they typically, businesses like that will have a staff of folks that are working on their social media accounts, and they want to make sure to get back to them right away so that they don't end up having kind of like a social media disaster on their hands. So it's a great way to really interact directly, with those folks. It's a great place to also find people that already like your brand and already like you and already know you. It's like, so connecting with them and, doing some quick searches, you'll be able to find those people pretty quickly. Some more kind of interesting news about Twitter is, if there's certain things about that make using Twitter a little bit easier and a little bit more friendlier. So when you start to create tweets and start to really become efficient at it, you'll find that putting links in, putting pictures in, GIFs, videos, even doing live, tweets will work really well with your audience. So you're not just putting up information to put information for information's sake. You really have to develop a strategy, to how you're going to use it and what you think you're going to get out of it for your brand. And so it takes a little bit of time in the front end to kind of figure that out and to determine, what's going to work best for you. Another good thing to keep in mind is when you talk about Twitter, you might say, oh, maybe the younger people are using it, or it's not the demo of my audience. But you'll be surprised that really Twitter is used across all demos. And in fact, the fastest growing demo on Twitter right now is really 55 plus. So if you're in the boomer group like me, it's a great place to be for people who are really actively looking for more information. Okay. So one of the things to keep in mind when you're setting up a business account is you need to prepare, as I mentioned, ahead of time, like what you want to do. So you're going to have to like write a little, snippet of your bio, just like you do on other social media accounts, the photos that you're going to use for your profile picture and for your cover picture. It's you want to what you're going to present to the world. So if you already have an account set up for Facebook, for Instagram, for Pinterest, and you have some graphics built, you'll be able to modify those. I would recommend a tool called Canva, which I'm sure a lot of you already use to develop creative graphics. It's a free source, so you don't have to, there's no money involved. So it's easy to use and you can set them up. And they already have templates that are already built. So if you're like, geez, I can't even create something, that's on my own, a good design, no worries. You can steal those templates, off of Canva and create your own. Then you can easily put your own logos in there. Or you can even, there's even a way that you can even create your own logo in there. So it's really, super easy to do that. So just take a few minutes ahead of time to think about what you want your Twitter, account to look like. This is a really quick screenshot of what kind of like what the dimensions are of everything. So, the pixel counts and everything. But I said, as I mentioned earlier, if you just go ahead and use Canva, you don't even really need to worry about those sizes. You just go ahead and use the templates, and then you'll be able to just drop your pictures in, your logos in, and create a beautiful image in there to really set yourself apart. Because when people do go in to decide whether they're going to follow you or not, that's the first thing that they look at, is your profile picture and your image on your header. So you'll see that when you start to get involved in Twitter, you'll see that sometimes people, instead of a profile picture, will have a little blue egg there. That means they have not yet taken the time to put a picture in there. That's a really bad thing. It's like, you really, from the get-go, before you start tweeting, you want to make sure that you have that profile picture up. You don't want to be a blue egg, because that means you just, you haven't taken the few minutes it takes, to get a picture in there that really reflects your brand or you, the best way that you can. And you'll see that there's a username in there, and that username is, when you go in and create an account, if you don't already have, an account handle saved, in your brand name or your name, I would do that anyway. Even if you don't plan to use the account that much, just make sure you have that already in your possession so that nobody else takes it. If somebody already has your brand name or something very close to it, figure out a creative way to actually use that. You may be able to use an underscore or some other thing that can differentiate you so that you can still use your name, but you're not too close to one that may be already existing out there. The username itself does not have to match exactly the handle name, so you can actually make that longer if you want. You'll have, I think there's a character limit on there, but it does not have to be exactly the same. So if you can't exactly get the right handle, you'll be able to at least put the right one up in the username, as long as it hasn't already been used. And then you'll see where that number 3 is. That's the character. You have 160 characters to talk about your brand or what is going to be happening in your Twitter feed. So use all those characters, use every single one of them. If you have a hashtag, or if you have something that really, clarifies, what you're talking about, use that hashtag so that people can find you when they're searching. And also make sure to put in your URL, for your blog in there. Don't leave that unfilled, because that's going to be a great way, for people to click through and then go directly to your blog, or other social media if you want to do that as well, and be able to see exactly what you're creating on your platform. You'll see underneath, you'll see that right now the photos are empty, but once you start adding photos and videos, those will populate in there. So when people go and look directly at your account, that's what they'll see. You can also put your location in there, and it can be broad. Like I could just put in there, I'm in Wisconsin. I don't need to say I'm in Madison, Wisconsin. So be as prescriptive as you want there. You don't need to, obviously you're not going to put your address in there. So just it's really a great thing to let people know who you are, so you can connect with other people that are in that community. And excuse me. And also, if people are, they have brands and other things that you can work with that are in that community already, they will reach out to you to work with you once they find you're out in the same location. So when we start to talk about creating your profile, you want to make sure, again, that your profile is reflecting the same look and feel of your brand. So you may want to use the same colors, that you're using on your website and other social media platforms. Use the same logo. You can use the same fonts. Once you start to set up your headers. So make sure you have the same look and feel as any brand would set up, because you don't want it to look completely different. So when they're finding you on Facebook or finding you on Instagram or anywhere else, or even on your blog, you want to make sure they go, oh yeah, I know I have the right place right now because it looks the same. So make sure you include, if as far as the profile picture goes, you can either include your logo in that spot, or you can include a picture of you. There's kind of two schools of thought on that. It's like some people say that people would much rather, prefer to relate to a person that's writing the blog rather than a logo that's the blog. So I'll leave it to you, to decide which one is better. It's like we on Food Travelist use our pictures because I agree with that philosophy. I think that people know that Diane and I are food travelists. And so then when they see the picture of us, they know, oh, I found them. It's like rather than just seeing our logo up there, which, they may not, they'll recognize the logo, but they're not, they may not recognize it as us. But that's the way, that we present our brand. So, to each their own, right? And as I mentioned, make sure you include the link of your website in your profile and your location. So here's a quick screenshot of my personal page. And so you can see in here, I'm going to give you some quick tips on where you need to look. Once you have your pages, your page set up, here's some of the things you're going to want to be aware of. At the very, very top of the screen, you'll see there's a home button, there's moments, notifications, messages, and then of course you see the little tweet bird and then the search. So up there, one of the things that you'll see right away in the notifications is you'll start to see numbers up there as you start to have folks following you and people talking of where, when things are coming in. And so when you click on that, you'll be able to see the information that's coming in. The messages, the little envelope, are direct messages that are only coming to you. So if somebody wants to ask you a question, it's like they're going to send you a message up there. So that is not information that's just going out into the Twitter sphere. That's just going to you up there. There's a search bar, so you can search on anything. You can search on just words. You can search on hashtags, whatever you want to search on, you can search on up there. And then you'll see my little teeny profile picture is up there, and then the tweet button is up there. So if you click on the tweet button, you can start to compose your tweet there, or you can click on what's happening, either right below there to see how you can start doing a tweet. We'll go through that in just a moment. So, and then you can you'll see how many tweets I have, how many people are following me, how many people I follow, and then you'll see the suggestions on who to follow. So this is a great way in the very, very beginning when you're maybe not sure of who I should follow, it'll give you suggestions on there. And if you want to see more than that, there's a little view all that's up there that makes it really easy to just click the screen. You'll get a full screen of people that it's going to suggest are people like you. If you're a travel blogger, it's going to suggest other travel bloggers that you might want to follow. So you can quickly do that. My clue to you on that is just don't follow everyone. It's like you want to click on their profile and see, are they following people? How many people are they following? Are people following them back? And then kind of quickly take a look at their thread and see, what are they talking about? Is it stuff that you're interested in? Is it stuff that offends you? If it is, don't follow them. It's really simple, so it's really easy to just go through there and do that. You'll see below, there's also a trends section down there. I have mine set on Chicago trends because I still haven't fully moved out of Chicago in my brain, I guess. It's like, so I'm still looking at what's going on in Chicago, and it tells me by the hashtags what people are talking about. This screenshot was taken a couple of days ago during the election, and so you can see that things were trending around the election, Chicago elections day. President Trump was talking about Puerto Rico. So these are the things that were trending at that particular time when I took this screenshot. So all you would need to do is click on one of those blue hashtags to see what is going on with that hashtag and what are people talking about. So as I was talking about before, that breaking news, that's what's going on. So if there was breaking news around the election and you were interested and wanted to share that, you could very quickly go to that hashtag, see what's going on. Oh my gosh, look who won the election, and then share that, and then you would be ahead of the curve in terms of sharing information and kind of being known as someone who is kind of on the edge of sharing news. And then I'm going to go to the next screen. Okay, here's where the Twitter cover photo is, and you see on my personal page here, I'm just using a photo. It's like, but for a professional page or a business page, this is where you want to put your logo, information about your brand, pictures that also reflect your brand. I'll show you when we get to look at Food Travelist what that is going to look at. And then your profile picture can go in there, and you'll see like what, how that reflects. And then here's the description, that I've written for myself. And you see, I've got a hashtag for our food travel chat in there. And I've also added the handle for our business account, which is Food Travelist. So that way there's two clickable things in my profile that will bring the people to other things that other brand work that I'm doing, so that makes it really easy for people that are looking for me or looking for our brand to know who I am and what I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, there's the URL on my personal page. I've also used the URL back to my blog. So that way, that's another way for people to get back to the business at hand. And then you'll see towards the bottom there on the left is the analytics as well. And we'll go through that real quickly, which is really a great way to know which tweets are working, which aren't working, where are your people coming from, who are they? So Twitter is just like every other social media platform out there that allows you to see your analytics, which is important because if we're using Twitter for our businesses, we don't want to waste our time, right? So if we're not converting to our blog, or if we're not getting people to share things, we want to know why. And so we can quickly look at the analytics to see what's working, what's not, and then change things from there to determine how we can make our accounts more successful. Okay. And then you can see some of the tweets that I've been sharing here. You'll see the bright pictures, pictures of food, things like that people are going to kind of more gravitate towards. So one of the things that's really important before you just like jump in on Twitter is you really need to pay attention to listening. Okay. It's kind of counterintuitive because people want to get out there and just say what they want. Here, buy my stuff, read my blog, make sure you read this blog post. And that's great. You do need to share your stuff, but you really need to share other things that people will be interested in. It's like I can give an example for us. It's like we write about food and travel. I share a ton of other people's stuff on food and travel. That is super interesting to me because I know people that follow our account are going to be interested in too. I hope they are. And I keep looking at things, daily to see what's working and what's not working so I can make adjustments, to that. I happen to know that people, that follow our stuff, they love to see pictures of cocktails, who knew? They love to see things that are cheesy. They love, cheeseburgers, pasta with cheese, anything with cheese. So things that I know that people like to look at, I'm going to share stuff like that. And just making sure that you follow, the rules of the road for Twitter. It's like following a Twitter etiquette. We're going to go through a couple things on that. And just remember that it is a social media. It's like, so it is social. So when people comment on your stuff or share your stuff, say thank you. Stop and say, hey, it's like, I noticed your blog post and you were talking about something that I really can relate to. So having those conversations, I can tell you, I've met a ton of people, on Twitter, that I have become friends with, it's like, and now we meet up in real life. I mean, lots of folks that I know, through Wonderful and at Wits, I've met, on Twitter, so I really give Twitter a lot of cadence for our, business because it's really, done a lot for us in meeting brands, and meeting other people that have, are very like-minded. So I'm really a big fan of it that way. Twitter, it's like I would say, just like any other social media account, that you have, it's like you want to be nice to people. It's like I don't want to come off as being arrogant or I know everything. It's like I want to, kind of, I'm learning here too. Type of attitude is what I have on Twitter. It's like I want to connect with people. I want to interact with people. So I follow people back, that follow me after, like I said, after I check out their account. It's like, what are they talking about? Do we have, something in common? It's like I give most people a shot and we'll follow them back. If they have a blue egg in their profile and they don't have a picture up yet and they only got a couple followers, I'm probably not going to give them a shot, because they haven't, yet embraced, what needs to happen to make a really successful Twitter account. So something that I learned, and I'm sure you all did learn from your moms and your grandmothers years ago. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything. It's like, to me, it's like getting in an argument or being, just contrarian for the sake of being contrarian on Twitter is just a waste of my time. It's like, so I don't want to be involved with people who are going to be like that. And I don't want to be like that either. So I'm pretty much, if you look at my stuff, it's going to be nice. It's going to be friendly. And I'm going to share stuff that, is going to make people either smarter, something that's interesting, it's funny, it's going to make their day. It's like, that's the tack that I would like to take and have you guys take, when you're approaching Twitter. Ask questions. It's like there's nothing wrong with if you don't understand something, ask. It's like, hey, I saw this post of yours. You just went to Spain, and I'm just wondering, like, how was that hotel that you stayed at? You didn't mention anything about that. It's like, and people, will either comment on it or they'll say, hey, you know what, I'll send you a message offline. It's like, and maybe you'll start a relationship that way. That's great too. Sharing other people's stuff, is really the key to success on Twitter. It's like, making sure that you're making friends out there and sharing things that are interesting to your folks and your consumers, and your brands. It's going to be, something that people will notice. It's like we go to different destinations, and not everyone has a Twitter account, right? But most people do. And so if we're going somewhere, like I don't know about you guys, but we're going to Portland, right, for WITS. So I hope you're following Visit Portland on Twitter if you're going to create an account, because they're going to notice, hopefully, that folks that are going to WITS are starting to follow their account. And wouldn't it be smart if you started sharing some of their stuff ahead of time so they get to know your handle and they'll go, oh, I know that person, right? It's like, or I know that blog, it's like, and they'll start to pay attention to you a little bit too. And so it's like when you're going anywhere, start to follow people there, follow brands there, hotels, restaurants, whoever you think you want to connect with when you're in that market, go and follow them. I was saying I do that on Twitter, but I do it on Instagram, as well, and on Facebook. And it's like there's no reason, not to do that. And they will notice, believe me. This is a game that's played on almost every social media platform, this follow unfollow game, which is like, again, I don't know about you guys, it's like, but I just don't have time, to play those kind of games. So I'm going to follow people that I want to follow. It's like that they have interesting content that I find, in my searches on Twitter, and I follow people that follow us that are interesting. So beyond that, I don't do anything else, with following people. You'll find that once you start to get a few hundred people following you, it just kind of starts to add up. It's like it may be a slow build, but you will find people that will just start following you because you will start to be known as you write about XYZ. You write about food travel, people that also love food and travel will follow you, will find you, because if you're putting up interesting information, they will find you. And this is a rule of any social media. Please, 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 I beg you, do not buy followers ever, 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 ever. I can't say it enough. There's folks out there, we all know them, we've seen them. You're gonna get busted on that. And it's like, what is the point, of it, of getting and accumulating all of these people that are either spammy, they're not in your wheelhouse. It's like, what is the point of it? They're not going to be interacting with your profile, with your tweets. They're not going to be sharing your tweets. So does it make a difference that you have 10,000 people following you and you have no interaction rather than having 200 or 300? No, it does not matter. It's like I think we've all seen the research on micro influencers, and stick with your gut on this one and really build your own audience. I can't emphasize that enough. No matter what social media platform you're working in, it's super important. And brands will notice this. It's like, they are getting smarter, thankfully. And some of those people that are doing those kinds of things are going to kind of flush themselves out in the end, I believe. So it's like, once you are there, you've got yourself all set up, what are you going to say, right? Oh my gosh. It's like, I don't have anything to say. Well, I know you do. It's like you write a blog, right? It's like, so you have more than enough to say. Every single blog post you write, doesn't matter if it's 500 words or 2,000 words, can all be broken up into individual tweets. It's like, and get those little thoughts out there. You can think about it. 500 words. Like, how many things can you get? Little snippets of information that you can share in a tweet. And the important part is share the information, but then make sure to include a link. It's very super easy, to include a mini link in there. Create a bit.ly, so people can click through, to your site, because that's what you want. So you want to tease them with a little bit of information. Say, click here, read more, because you want to call to action of what am I going to do? It's like, what am I going to see when I click on that link? And then include a hashtag, so that more people can find it, and then don't forget to include a photo. It's like, hey, check out this super great Philly steak sandwich that I just had in Philly this weekend. Click here to see more. And then you're going to click there and you're going to see more photos of it, a little bit of story on it, whatever it is you're clicking through to, and you'll get their attention that way, right? And don't be afraid, to also ask for people to retweet things either. So that's another way to get people to do that. But if you already have an existing editorial calendar, which I hope you do, for your blog, it's super easy to then go ahead and create the social media calendar around that as well. And Twitter is just another platform that you're going to be adding in there. So you're going to want to add, every time you create a new blog post, now you're just going to add creating tweets, for that blog post as well. So if you're already sharing it on Pinterest, if you're sharing it on Instagram, if you're sharing it on Facebook, this is just another outlet for you to share your information and share your work, on there as well. Okay. And then beyond just sharing your own information, you also want to share and comment, as I mentioned, on other people's tweets. So even if you don't want to share people's stuff, you can still comment and say, hey, this was a great post. Thanks for sharing it. People will pay attention, they'll follow you, and you'll start to become, part of this travel world that's out there. There's a great hashtag that's out there. It's called Travel Tribe. And there's people that just, kind of help each other by sharing things on Twitter and whatnot. You can check out that hashtag, and you'll find that that's a really nice group of people who are out there, trying to share some good news about travel, which is fantastic. Okay. Always make sure to use a call to action, download something, click on something, retweet something, so that people have, know what the next step is that you want, coming out of the tweet. So as I mentioned before, once you are set up, and you have your account all good to go, you've got tweets scheduled, everything's going, you got tweets to schedule, you know what's going on, make sure you're going to be checking your notifications, your direct messages, do those daily and respond promptly, because it's like anything else that's out there. It's like, you don't want people to comment 3 days later and say, oh, it's like you were in town and I wanted you to come check something out and you didn't see it because you didn't check it. It's like you could have missed an opportunity, to do something or to connect with somebody that could have been helpful. So responding promptly is really important. And then making sure that you really use hashtags, when you're creating these tweets is important. As I mentioned in the beginning, when you see the sidebar where you see all the hashtags that are trending, you can go ahead and look on there and see what is trending today and why can I do it. Today happens to be National Empanada Day. It's like, so if you write about food and you want to share and you have a great photo of an empanada, even if you don't, you can just use a GIF of an empanada. It's a great way to just say, hey, how are you celebrating National Empanada? Hashtag National Empanada Day. And then put up your picture of an empanada and you're good to go. And people will find it because it's already something that's trending, so it'll have a tendency to come up higher in the feed, so which is great, right? But when you do add hashtags, don't go crazy with them. I mean, obviously it's limitless. I mean, you have 280 characters, to fill up on Twitter now, and you don't want to use the majority of them as hashtags. I would, my advice would be to just use a few. I would say 2 or 3 is probably the max. I mean, you'll see once you're on Twitter, people, use all kinds of crazy amounts of hashtags. So you can be your own guide on that one. You can also make up your own hashtag. If you're going to start doing something that's specifically around your blog and you want to use your blog name as a hashtag, do it. But just make sure that you use it consistently and people will start to know that that's a hashtag that they should use when they're talking about you and your brand to get your attention. Okay. Because you can even call it out, say, hey, use this hashtag and I will retweet your work. I'll read it. I'll share it. I'll comment on it, whatever it is. And people will also respond to that as well. Now you're saying, how am I going to get people to follow me? It's like, I've got these great tweets. I've got great photos. I'm doing some live, tweets out there. I've got some videos. It's all great. I'm using great funny GIFs. It's like, how am I going to find these people? Well, it's like, go into Twitter and start searching on people, search on travel, search on food, search on whatever it is, that's adventure, whatever it is that you're writing about. And you will start to find people in those niches. It's really, if you know somebody who's a direct competitor, it's like, go and see if they have an account. If they have an account, you know what? Go in and follow people that they follow. Super easy. Just go in there, check out the accounts. Again, I would also, just don't blindly follow people. Just go in there and check them out. How many people are they following? What are they talking about? And follow them as well. That's a super easy and quick way to get followers and also start to get information on what else is going on in your industry and what are people talking about today. You'll find that out very, very quickly. And start sharing other people's content. It's like, I'm a huge fan of sharing things that are clever, funny, something that is going to help make the world a little bit brighter. So those kinds of things have a tendency to share and duplicate really well. Another way is to join Twitter chats. If you haven't been on a Twitter chat, it's a great way to meet people. Typically, people that are on chats follow each other because they've had conversations during the chats, and they want to continue to have a relationship with those people. I mentioned we do food travel chats. There's travel skills that are out there. There's street art chat. There's a ton of chats that are out there. You'll see they'll come up in the trending. When you see, when you look at the search, or you can simply, search in the bar, for chats too, and you'll find them. So if you find somebody, there's constant. I mean, there's chats about search. There's chats about social media. So you name any topic that you're interested in, and you will find a chat on it, and just start, listening to what's going on in the chat. It's easy. Just put the hashtag in the search bar. Click on that, and you'll see everything comes up. You'll see posts that are new and posts, that are most popular, and they'll show the photos that are, that are in the chats, and you'll be able to very quickly get involved with it and start sharing and developing relationships with those people. Follow influencers, in your niche as well. That's a great way to get the latest information on things, and also start to develop a relationship with them. It's like they may not follow you back right away, but if you start sharing their information and making like really legitimate comments on what they're sharing, it could be their blog posts, it could just be any kind of information that they're sharing, they will start to notice you. It doesn't matter how big they are. It's like they will start to notice you if you do it over time. And then that'll be a great way to develop that relationship. It's a great way to, sometimes get invited places, and also have other opportunities. So just know that when you start to talk to people, they do pay attention. They really do. Again, I mentioned this, follow brands that you work with or brands that you want to work with. If you have brands that you're using every single day, it's like, it's like, what if you wear Nike shoes every day? And it's like, and you follow them and start sharing their stuff. I'm not going to say they're going to start following you, but be true to yourself. Follow brands that you are really using and that you do want to have some kind of relationship with. And they will eventually, hopefully, get to know you. And who knows, it could really develop into something, lucrative for you. Again, anytime that you want to engage with people, you want to reciprocate with people, it's got to be, you're helping each other, to, kind of create a better relationship on Twitter. So once you do have it all set up, so how are people going to find you? Yes, they'll find you through search and whatnot, but you have to let them know that you're there. So if you already have social media buttons on your site, make sure you have the one on there for Twitter. Make sure that you let people know that you're on Twitter, and that it's there. You want to have a conversation with them if they're already on there. So if you have a newsletter that you send out, it's like, say, hey, guess this could be another thing to add to your newsletter, and another headline. We're on Twitter now. Join us there. Join our conversation. Create a hashtag for that, and watch how people will start to follow you. Like I said, don't be afraid, to ask for retweets and to have people share your stuff, because sometimes people just need a gentle nudge, to say, hey, yeah, I did like this. I do want to share that. I mean, they're not going to share everything, but if you share interesting and entertaining and funny stuff, they're going to share it because they want that stuff in their feed as well, because because it is reciprocal. Everybody kind of down the line will get the kind of the juice off of what you're sharing as well. So I think that's a great idea. You can embed tweets into your blog posts. I mean, you'll see that once you create the tweet, there's a button underneath that you can very easily embed a tweet into your blog post or anything else. You can embed it into a newsletter, wherever you can embed something. It's a great thing to use. And you can also reach out on your other social media platforms and say, hey, I'm on Twitter now. You can mention it on your Facebook page or mention it on Instagram or wherever you're, Pinterest, or wherever your audience already lives. Mention that you're now on another social media platform, and then have them come over there as well. And now you're saying, okay, again, how am I going to do all this work? I don't want to do another social media platform. I don't have enough time in the day to do all this stuff, right? I hear you. And like I mentioned before, this easily can be done in a couple hours a week. Really, if you automate it and use the tools that are out there, you don't have to spend a day in and day out working on this stuff. There's an easy way to create and follow Twitter lists on Twitter. You create the list of people that you want to follow. There's a list set up for wonderful folks. It's like so very easy to follow that list and then just go in there and check that stuff. I'm going to show you as soon as we go over there how to do that. And it's easy to share the stuff right away. And there's content that lives there, evergreen. So you can just go in there and share it whenever you like. But it is really important that if you're going to be on Twitter, you can't just tweet once a day and then walk away. So things have to be done, multiple times a day. The bad news is that the shelf life of a tweet is about 20 minutes. It's like, so that means that after 20 minutes, people aren't even paying attention to it anymore because it's already gone so far in the feed. So you want to use automation, some kind of tool that will make that available to you to do and schedule tweets throughout the day. There's several: Buffer, Hootsuite, TweetDeck. I mean, they all have free versions. You can go in and schedule your tweets. I would say in the beginning, you probably want to schedule anywhere from 6 to 10 tweets a day to just, get them flowing throughout the day. I would say schedule them every 2 hours, something like that, so that you'll have some information going out all through the day. And don't forget, you're in one time zone, but the rest of the world, the world keeps ticking all day long. So, go ahead and schedule some stuff, what would be in your overnight time, because you'll get some folks that are not in your time zone that will also start reacting to your tweets as well. If you want to have more of a sophisticated tools that are out there, CoSchedule is out there, Buffer and Social Sprout all have paid versions of sharing tools that allow you not to just share tweets, but also share other social media content as well. So you can just have one place where you're doing everything. I would say, once you're making some serious money and you want to move forward with that, those are all great options, to use and share tools. That's for sure. But I would say from the get-go, just from the start, use TweetDeck. It is the native sharing tool from Twitter, so it works super easy, and it's not very difficult to use at all. The downside of Twitter, I would say, is folks, as you know, can be mean, and call you out on things. So before you hit go, before you hit tweet on one of your Twitter accounts, make sure you check your spelling. Make sure you check your accuracy. Make sure what you're saying is absolutely true. That you're not trying to kind of share some information that may be false, because people will call you on it. So we all make mistakes. I mean, there's no getting around it. We'll make typos. We may accidentally put the wrong link in, things like that. We all know things like this happen, but do your best, to not have those things happen. Just really, take a minute, take a breath, before you hit go, and reread it again, because unfortunately, like some of the other social media platforms are on there is no go back and edit on Twitter. Once it's gone, it's gone. The only option you have is to delete it. And unfortunately, once you hit go and it's already out there, there's a good shot that somebody took a screenshot of it, especially if you made a mistake, it's like, and then they're going to be able to share that. So I would just be careful on that and just take an extra second. Don't make yourself paranoid, but take an extra second, to check and make sure that is okay. One of the things that you'll want to also keep in mind is that when you do start scheduling tweets and one of the schedulers, just make sure that you're paying attention to any breaking news that may come out. So if you have something scheduled that may be sensitive, that you don't want to be coming out during some kind of a news event, make sure that you can go back. You can always go back into your scheduler and cancel things or move them to another date, but just make sure that that, okay, something, some tragedy just happened and I'm talking about that area. It's like, you want to make sure that that's not happening at the same time. I'm sure we've all seen, social media disasters on Twitter where folks have put information out on schedulers that just had no business being there. Okay. And as I mentioned, because Twitter is really unforgiving. So you can see a couple examples here of people that big brands, who really, made some mistakes and, had to pay for it later on, so just be careful, when you're doing that. Okay. But also, Twitter has an amazing sense of humor. You know, there's a lot of really great brands out there who are doing a great job of being funny and kind of irreverent, with Twitter. So, please, feel free to tap into that, especially if you have a great sense of humor. Use it, and people will follow you. You will find yourself in a great position. That's for sure. And as I mentioned, it's like Twitter, it just moves on very fast. It's like, so you'll see like almost 10,000 tweets in a second are going on Twitter, so, just make sure that you're refilling that queue all the time so that you have information out there for people to see. Checking your analytics is, really important, and you got to make sure that things that you're putting out there are working. So it's super easy. I mean, this is a quick screenshot of my personal account, but you can see where your engagement is, and you can see how many impressions you're getting and what your engagement rate is. So it's like you want to, really, pay attention to this, because if you're not getting any engagement, you just want to change your tweets and, do some experimenting, do some testing on what works best for you and what times of the day work best for you. And you will have much more success that way. I think most importantly, don't expect overnight success unless you're a celebrity. Yeah, it's unlikely that you will you will find yourself with 1 million followers tomorrow. So really, this is a slow and steady wins with this particular social media platform. Just try to get yourself into some kind of a pattern, that when you're going to be putting up things and when you're going to be checking, and you check it a couple times a day. Don't get crazy with it. Don't obsess with it. And things will continually improve, as you go along. It will, trust me. It just takes a little bit of time to accrue an audience. I would say once you probably get over 1,000 people following you, it'll just really start to take off, and you'll find yourself with a lot more followers quicker than that first 1,000 took. Because the first few are the hardest, that's for sure. And okay, here's the last of the couple of resources that are on here for you. I like to use tools like Pocket. It's like Pocket is great for like if you find something online that you want to share, but you don't need to share it right now. You just put it in the Pocket, and it's really easy to go and share things later on. And they make it super easy. A lot of people like to use if that and then this. It's like then it's also a great way to automate not just Twitter, but a lot of other information that you might be sharing. If you want to know more about Twitter and how to work it for business, go to Twitter directly. There's a link right here, for it. I think this is something that most people don't know about, but every single social media platform has these types of places on their websites. And what they do is they give you case studies. They tell you exactly what to do. They tell you the algorithm changes. It's like, so when people are like, oh, my hair is on fire because the algorithm changed, it's like, stop, just go in and look at the business page. They're going to pretty much tell you what to do, and how you should do it and how to get more followers and how to engage with your audience, so it's really quite simple. You just go in there and do a little studying on that, and you're going to be surprised at what you're going to learn. To me, it's like that's a lot more valuable than any of the classes that I've taken. Is just spending some time, in there, and really just learning what it is that they think is working well for them. If you want to know more about your Twitter stats, there's a lot of free and paid sources that are out there. Tweetbinder, Keyhole, Tweet Reach, Hashtagify, hash tracking. I use hash tracking to track our hashtag for our Twitter chat, and that is a paid subscription, but it provides a lot of information about what's going on, during the chat that is really helpful for us. So I would highly recommend that one if you're getting involved in chats. That's for sure. That's my information, but I'm going to go back in, and I'm hoping that this is going to work out okay, for me to actually get into Twitter so that you can see. I want to walk you through some of these things as well, right on the platform itself. So this is our business page that you can see right here. And one of the things I wanted to share with you in terms of, we all go through and look at pages all day long and different blogs and things that we like. One of the things that I like to do during the day when I'm looking at something or somebody's site is I'm like, oh, this is a great information. I want to share it on Twitter, right? So I'm going to use the next, this is an example. It's like, here's a blog from Doreen, who happens to be, in the collective. She writes about chocolate and travel, right? That's a that's a great combination. So she has some great blog posts. I share a lot of her stuff. So for me, it's like I do read Doreen's stuff all the time, but it's like it would be kind of difficult for me to go and pick about what exactly should I pick out of her blog post that I want to tweet. Well, this is one tool that I really like. It's called Buffer. If you're not using it, you should go check it out. There's a free version, so you don't have to pay for it. I use it as an extension on my Chrome, and so I just click on the little Buffer link up here, and I can it automatically creates a short link for it, and it creates a little bit of a blurb about what's going on in Doreen's post. With a little quick editing, like I know I'm cheating a little bit because I know Doreen, but I'm going to go in here and put in her handle, and it already prompts me to where it is. Because once I start typing it, it's going to autofill that in, and I'm going to put in here. Okay, so tasting Belize made chocolate from modern traditional via her handle, Wizard of Words, and here's the short link. Okay, and because I know that this is about chocolate, I'm going to also put in the hashtag of chocolate, and I also know that Doreen's a boomer. And so I'm going to put in here boomer travel. Okay. Why I really like this is because if I just wanted to put up this as a link and with these hashtags, that's great. And it might get some attention, but what's really going to get attention is Doreen's nice photos, right? So I want to put up some of these, and you can see on the bottom here, it shows all these great photos that she has here. So I can pick out the ones that I want to use. And so, I mean, Twitter lets you put in 4 photos. So I want to use all 4 because I want to have the most opportunity to share the most attractive photos in that post. And so after that, I'm just going to hit. I can either put it. I can share it right now. I can schedule it later, or I can just add it to my queue because I have a queue in there which is already filled with other information. So I'm just putting that in there. It's going to queue up and it's going to broadcast that later. And so now I've done a couple of things, right? I've shared a tweet that now fills my queue a little bit more. I've given Doreen some love because, I know that I know her and I know she's part of this group and I know that she's part of my larger boomer group and I want to share some of her information. So that's a really easy and quick way, to do that. Okay. So while I'm in the Twitter platform, I'm going to really quickly, go through and so you can see here today, right now, this is what's trending in the United States. It's National Library Week. Something's going on with Beyonce. So she's got some trailer coming out. And you see all these other things that are going on right now. At the very top of the trend, you'll see this thing for Galaxy. This is a promoted trend post from Samsung. Okay, so the top of that's an ad. So don't worry about that unless you're interested in promoting Samsung. You'll see on the right over here, you'll see all these folks that are recommending that I would follow. Okay, let's just do this test real quick. I'm going to just scroll over this Leah over here. I don't know her, Leah Bella Blogs. And you'll see the pop-up comes up. It says, okay, she's a travel and lifestyle blogger from the UK. Her next stop is Mexico. That's great. I mean, she's done a great job of as a blogger saying next stop Mexico. That lets other people know she's going to Mexico. So if people are in Mexico or have been there, they can share information with her. You see she's got 995 followers and she's following 864 people. That's great. That means that she's following a lot of people close to her follower count, which means that she's probably actively talking to all of them. So in my real world, I would probably just go ahead and follow her because she seems like a decent person, but to do a further check, I'm just going to go in, click on her account. I see her. She's got a nice, profile picture. She's got a nice header photo. Again, yes, she's from England. She's got the link to her blog post here. She's got some photos. Maybe that's her husband. I don't know, but she's got a couple things going on there. And I can quickly do I have it? She's got a pin tweet. This is another thing. There's an opportunity, like all the other social media platforms, you want to pin something on the top, that you want people to see all the time. She's pinned a tweet asking if people will follow her on YouTube. That's a great use of that pin. Okay. But you'll see, she's got some things going on here. She's talking about her blog and whatnot. You know what? I'm going to say that's okay. I'm going to go and follow her. So that now I've just added her to my follower account. Okay. Another thing. So I'm going to go back home here and you'll see when you get back home, these are the tweets that are just coming up from everybody that you follow all day long. So it's a good way if you wanted to see what's going on in the world, this is what's going on with your followers right now. Okay. If I want to see what's going on in notifications, I'll go up here and I can see, well, who's talking about me or who has tagged me in a tweet. So I can quickly go back and respond to people who are talking to me or who have tagged me in something. One of the other things I wanted to show you quickly, I know we're over time here, but is going back to, if I go back to my homepage, you'll see I was talking about lists before, and you'll see here's my list function right here. So you want to click on lists, and you'll see, okay, and the one on the top right here is the creator collective. It's like, so that's a great list of everyone that's in the collective. So I can click on that list, okay. And so if I don't want to see anything else that's going on Twitter right now, but I want to see what people in our group have shared in the last day or so, or the last few minutes, somebody just shared something 12 minutes ago, I can really easily go in here and start sharing their stuff. These are people that I already know. They're part of our group. And so this is good information. I'm not going to be sharing anything that's bad. It's like, look at this, hotels with cats that will tickle every feline lover's fancy. Well, everybody knows that I love cats. I love my kitties. So I'm going to like that. And I'm also going to retweet that. You'll see the little retweet button there. I'm going to retweet that. And now that's gone out. So I've just shared Lindsay's post there. Okay. So that's great. So you can see there's an easy way, to do this, so that you don't have to spend a time on it. If, I showed you the function before with my buffer. If I just wanted to take Lindsay's tweet and put it into my buffer, I can do that. It's like, so I can just do it as a retweet, or I can go in and say, I love cats, or, we love cats, because I'm sending it from Cowboys. And I can also do it that way. And I can add that to the queue as well. I'm not gonna, because I just retweeted it. But super easy to do. And then through Buffer, I can just go ahead and schedule that to run right now, or I can schedule to run tomorrow, the next day, or whatever. It's an evergreen post, so it's not something that needs to be done today. It's just something, so I can quickly go through, because you'll see there's 20, 25 posts in here. I could go in, if that's enough posts for me to fill up my queue for the next couple days, so that's terrific, and easy, and it's people that I know that I want to help grow as well, so it's, I can go back in, and there's other lists that I've created. It's very easy to, create a list, just add people to it, and you'll be good to go on having things that you can share. The little message thing is when people are going to be sending you direct messages, and people that want to connect with you will send you messages in there. You can really easily go in there and get back to them as well. Okay. So I'm going to see, because we're long, I'm wondering if I can, I don't know, we're going to give this a whirl here and see if there is any questions here, or if there's anything else that people have that I can help with on this. Or, okay. Nope. All right. I don't know. I hope. Okay. So, all right. So that's that. If anybody has any questions that I can answer following up after this, please, let me know, and you can get in touch with me. My Twitter handle is Reddel, SHREDDEL, and you can reach me there, or you can reach me on my email at sue@foodtravelist.com, and I would be more than happy, to answer any questions that you may have about that. It's certainly been fun, talking about it, whether you're going to have a personal page or a business page. I hope that you decide to jump into the Twitter pool, because I think you'll find it really interesting. I think that you'll find that it will help grow your business. It will help define you as an expert if you start sharing specific information about things that you have a specific point of view on. I think that it's a great way to do that. Don't be intimidated by it. It would be my number one tip, for you. Don't let it scare you, because there's a lot of really great people out here that are sharing really fantastic information. So please, go out there and connect with them. That's for sure. Um, Trying to see. Okay, Beth, I don't know if you're still on there or not, or Marissa, but I'm going to um, end the broadcast. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Okay. Thanks so much. It's been a great talking to everybody, and I look forward to following everybody on Twitter. If you follow me, I will follow you back. Whether you follow us on Food Travel Chat or Food Travelist or my personal account, we'll give you a follow back. So I hope to see you all there. Okay. Thanks so much. Talk to you on Twitter. Bye.